Stop the cap.
Neurotypical normies want families, you know what I mean? And like, you're in New York and you have artists that are like delaying it, and as men we're like, okay man, we can wait until we're like 45 and stuff like that. But I'm in my lower 30s, approaching my mid 30s, and this is the time where you get asked. And yeah man, like when you read these articles, like the average home price in 2019 was $290,000. Now it is $450,000 in a 4-year span. That's crazy. You know what I mean? And like, people don't understand the downstream consequences of that. And then when you stop having kids, you have less investment in like what actually happens to this country. So I feel like it radicalizes politics on both sides. Like, leftists want revolution in one way, and people on the right want like Trump to be a god king. It's gonna like radicalize both directions, because if you can't have that like white picket fence mentality, that the dream we've been sold, then what's left?
Bro, it is work this, work that, wake up, go to work, come home, eat supper, go to bed, go to work in the next morning. I mean, dude, I got 2 kids. I got 2 kids that I get to see for like maybe 2 hours a day, and they have to stay up late just so I can spend time with them, you know? And then I got a wife that I get to see for maybe 3 hours a day, you know? But you know, other than that, it's go to work, spend time at work. I just tried to go to the gym, okay, because I had a rain delay at work, and then my boss texted me after like 15 minutes of being in the gym, being, oh yeah, come in 30 minutes earlier. We're actually going to start at this time. Like, dude, like that basically just wasted all of my time. Drinking a 1,600 calorie protein shake. That's going straight to the fucking gut now, dude. Like, I just want to get fit, dude. I want to spend time with my family. I want to have a good job. I want to make a lot of money. Hell, I got a business that I created that I don't even have time to run because I'm so busy trying to pay bills. When I got goals in my life, dude. I got a family that I want to support. I got a family that I want to spend time with. I want to get fit. Yo, fuck you, dude. Fuck all of y'all. The politicians, fuck Joe Biden, fuck all you liberals, fuck you Democrats, and fuck every fucking one of you. I'm sick of this. How can you live like this, man? How can you even get to where you want to be in life because of all this shit? Man, fuck you.
This whole throat thing is killing me. It's like my damn vocal cords don't work. Anyway, I was going to upload my other video. This is how I get backed up. I don't know why I do this to myself. But anyway, I was watching a video from Thinking Ape where he talked about Pat Tillman. And if you don't know who Pat Tillman was, he was the NFL player that, and I think recently somebody was bitching about the Pat Tillman Award, and they gave it to somebody that they didn't want it to be given to. I forget who that was. But anyway, Pat Tillman was an NFL player who, I think, during the war in Afghanistan, he decided to go and fight the Taliban in Afghanistan, and he ended up getting killed by friendly fire, right? He had a family, wife, kids, you know, make millions of dollars, and due to the concept of ideals, you know, he went to Afghanistan, you know, to, right, bring freedom and democracy, right? I mean, don't even get me started on the narcotics trade, which is why people, generally speaking, you know, they leave the Taliban alone, and they got all these backdoor deals with the Taliban because the Taliban runs the opium trade. But anyway, so I'm listening to Thinking Ape, and I mean, it goes right along the lines of what I said. I'm like, white men don't have anything to fight for. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. Like, the white boomers got to be the dumbest generation or group of individuals ever. And maybe this is just, you know, what it is, and it's ever becoming harder to maintain patriotism because people can see all the things that you're not doing, right? The lack of consistency, the you know, history over time, right? They see the treatment. And I see parallels between like the US government and African American women when, you know, I get to talking about the gender war. Because, right, like, think about what the US does, right? interferes, meddles with other countries, sends the CIA to go in there, right? Get people into massive amounts of debt with the IMF, send in the jackals, undermine, countries and leaders that try to nationalize their resources, because you got to have Shell and BP, go in there and, make their money. Same thing that was done to Mossadegh with, Iran. Right. And then you send in Shell and BP, and then you extract resources out of the country. Same thing that went on with, Iraq and Halliburton and, just all that. Same thing with Latin America and the way that, the U.S. government has meddled in, destabilizing, the region. There is no greater destabilizing force in the world than the United States. The United States operates in its own interest. Which is the strange thing, because you got all these evangelical Christians talking about, Jesus and the Lord and God and white people. They view Christianity, and I'm not trying to take this down in a Christianity path, but they view Christianity in this real warped, freaking, God has made white people, they're chosen people, and white people are basically allowed to use the earth, use other people's, however they see fit, right? And then, like, later on, when they catch up a whole bunch of smoke and a whole bunch of hell, like 9/11 and Osama bin Laden slamming the planes in the tower, then they want to act like the ass whooping came out of nowhere, kind of like Israel, same thing. And the weird thing is, like, then Israel does the same thing to the United States that the United States does to the rest of the world, right? Where Israel goes in, meddles with the politics, AIPAC, all that, and you have like this war hawk nation, United States, that, Israel has basically completely infiltrated, the government, got all type of massive amounts of propaganda, right? Having civil rights groups like the ACLU, which is actually an intelligence organization, acting, as, this foreign agent, right? Scaring politicians into compliance, into supporting, the war machine in the military industrial complex of Israel, right? Or the United States in military industrial complex supporting Israel, right? Which causes a whole bunch of problems, in these regions of the world, right? Destabilizing all these regions. It's just a hot mess. But I'm saying, if you're going to be this war machine, right? If you're going to be, what is it, Warhammer 40,000K, right? If you're going to be that, right, you would think that you wouldn't have all the gay shit, all the, attacks on masculinity, right? All the basically, pushing feminism, right? It's like the United States is trying to do too many things at once, right? So you gotta, we want to, create propaganda and separate the man and the woman, so that we have young men and women that we can control, and tell the women that they're strong and independent, and we're going to have all this propaganda, bust up the family. Then you get a bunch of, dysfunctional young men, right? Then they end up in the prison industrial complex, which makes politicians that have stocks in the prison industrial complex wealthier, right? So they're doing all this bullshit. Then it's like, oh shit. Oh, there's some war overseas. Like, we have domestic interest where and it's not even technically, it's the interest of the politicians that want to get rich. It's like the domestic interest, and then you got the foreign interest, which is like to go out there and fuck up the rest of the world. All right. So it's like, okay, now you got men that you're throwing away in prison, right? You've taken away you've decentered men, you've taken everything away. Right, all these concepts and ideas of what it is to be a man, what it is to be American, what it is to be a hero. All you done fucked all that up. Then you got all your external shit when it comes to resources overseas. So then you don't have any soldiers to go overseas to do the evil shit and facilitate all your wars, so that these, top corporations and private equity firms can get wealthy in the process. And it's like, and I'm saying, to me, it's like similar to African American women, because I say the same thing when it comes to the black community and the matriarchy. And you got women like, oh, we want to be strong and independent and empowered and everything else. And I'm like, what about the boys? And then, 20 years passed, and then everybody's in their mid-20s, and then the women are bitching about ain't nobody to marry, ain't nobody on my level, that bullshit. I'm like, this is shit you have to fucking prepare for in order to get the outcome when you want the outcome. And so, listening to Thinking Ape, I'm just shaking my head because I'm like, not only do you have a situation where you don't have, like, I was listening to Sabi Sobs, right? And she had Scott Ritter on, and Scott Ritter was just like, we don't have a military. I remember when Joe Rogan covered this a while ago, talking about, the freaking, what is it called? This, special operations, and how they didn't have enough people, and people couldn't pass the PE test, and people had mental health issues or drug issues, right, or being overweight, right, and that was a couple years back, and then like now, it just I'm blown away at how, like, the type of men you need in this world, right, regardless of whether your nation is doing right, wrong, or they're indifferent, but the type of men you need in this world, it is not supported, right? And especially as a war machine like America is, like I just look at people, like the shit they do, governments, people, women, right? I just look at it and I'm like, okay, you want what outcome? Okay, have you been investing in that outcome? No, we haven't been investing in it. So you just magically think that even though you've decentered man, you've destroyed all, sense of, positive male identity and everything, right? You think that you're going to get warriors out of that, right? You promote, black men are toxic, right? Toxic masculine. You've been promoting that, right? Then you got all the gay shit. Everybody should be gay. Don't you want a dick in your ass, right? All this gay shit. Y'all promote all of that, right? Which is obviously going to interfere with, the type of, we need you to go out there and kill a motherfucker type of masculinity, right? You undermine all that. And then at the 11th hour, right, you want to go and have wars with, freaking, Hezbollah. You want to have wars with China. You want to go wars with Russia. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? I already said, I'm like, you got all these unstable motherfuckers, people wanting to smoke the president. They smoking, people in supermarkets, movie theaters, all that shit. And because again, if you look at all the mass shooters, right, they're typically white male and they're in their early 20s, and that's who you want to go and send off to war, a bunch of, either mentally ill people, or people that are so tutti frutti and gay and weak and pussified and sissified and everything else that's not a warrior class. You're gonna put people talking about their fucking pronouns up against the Spetsnaz. Are you kidding me? Are you joking? Like, it's the most retarded shit ever. But this is what like this country, has done. I'm just watching this implosion. To sit there and watch white men who at any other time have been the most, like, they get mad like when Colin Kaepernick takes a knee, right? Like, all the shit that black people have said, right? White men are feeling that shit. They're feeling that shit. The way that white men feel right now, that is exactly how black men have been treated in this country since its conception. And black men still, went off to all these wars and fought and thought when they come back that they would be recognized, right? That they would be valued and appreciated. Didn't happen. The black men already know what time it is with this fucking system. The white boys, y'all haven't found that shit out yet. You get little glimpses of it, like when, the Vietnam vets came back from, Vietnam, and they were treated like shit. VA hospitals were shit, right? I mean, Cap tells me about that shit all the time. When he joined the Marines, and he had guys that were like telling him to look out for himself and how fucked up it is and how the country, these like the Vietnam vets at the time, they were like 30 years old at the time, and they were telling him like, it's not what you think it is. So it's like, I look at white dudes listening to them complain. I'm like, it's your time now. It's your time. It's your turn, as Cap likes to say. It's your turn. It's your turn to find out. And the dumbest thing, it's like, I remember when Cap made this point talking about Kevin Samuels. And all the women calling his show, and the single moms and stuff, and you come to find out that these women were just as much participants in the fucked up situations that they had going on with having a kid and not having resources, and the dude was all messed up, and sometimes they would have multiple kids with him. It's like, well, why did you have, if you knew he was messed up, why did you have the second kid or the third kid or whatever, right? The women would participate in this shit. But there's a few women that called Kevin Samuels' show, and there was really nothing wrong with him. One incident, Kat was snapping about the shit because Kevin suggested to a woman that she get back with her ex. I don't know if it was her ex-husband or ex-boyfriend, but the man, he was abusive. And that should have been the end of the conversation. Oh, why aren't you with him? Oh, because he was abusive. You don't tell a woman to go back and deal with a man, that's literally being abusive. Okay? And I know that's hard to, accept, when it comes to modern day women, because a lot of women, they throw around, abuse and sexual assault just so freely, that it's like the girl that cried wolf. I know it's the boy that cried wolf, but I'm saying in this case, the girl that cried wolf. We see this with all these false accusations out here, of women, the girl, the Connecticut basketball player, the freaking, Dominique Jones and Travis Rudolph, Merlin Santana, right? Marcus Dixon, Brian Banks, right? The Hofstra players, right? The Duke lacrosse team, right? We see this shit. It's Cap. Okay. The Bonnie Sweetens, right? All that lying on somebody's dick type of shit, right? Or mad because you felt disrespected, and now you go, and again, the black woman is not protected, right? But then you go and you call on some goons, and they do pull up. They show up. How are you not protected and niggas is dying out here off of the strength of your word? How the fuck does that work? We got niggas in the cemetery right now because some black woman made a phone call and niggas pulled up and somebody got killed. That shit is irritating as hell. The black woman is unprotected, but we got all these dead niggas out here and niggas in jail serving, life sentences. There's tons of black men sitting in jail right now off of a bitch. Plain and simple, right? Because they tried to come through with the cape, trying to be heroic and shit. And, they end up, losing. But I'm saying, the thing with Kevin Samuels is, one of the things that Cap pointed out is like, nah, you got to have a winner. He's this is the whole thing I try to tell brothers when it comes to colorism and whatnot. That's why you get stuck in those stupid conversations, because you got to have a winner. If you're trying to sell your concept, at some point you have to choose, you have to get married, you have to settle down, all that shit. There has to be a winner, or at least the ideal of what you actually, what actually constitutes, a win. And this is what society has failed to do. I mean, even now with the whole, freaking not being able to start a family, afford a house, all this stuff when it comes to the average, white American male, let alone, any other group of men, right? Like, there's no winners. Like, the fucked up part, the one thing as a society that you're not supposed to allow to happen is the, like, example, the drug dealers come through and basically talk shit about how they got more motion going on than the dudes that are following the rules in the straight and the narrow. The majority of the dudes that follow the rules in the straight and narrow are not supposed to lose. You cannot allow them to lose. If they lose, your system and your society will collapse. I don't care how much white Jesus you want to sprinkle on it. This is the whole problem with the boomers, because the boomers go up there and they want to talk about, all these concepts, all these, whether it's Jesus, Christianity, the Jordan Peterson, be a strong man, all this manhood coaching, bullshit. And at the end of the day, it's not getting anybody anywhere, because the tangible part of the system is not there. So people subscribe to the idealism, they subscribe to the religiosity, and it gets them nowhere. You know, and again, you know, people have these concepts of exceptionalism, which are bullshit because at the end of the day, I don't care what system you have, 80% of people need to get through that door. If 20% fail, you can accept that and then you can chain them with personal responsibility and everything else. Because again, if 80% of your students are passing, why am my voice cracking? If 80% of your students are passing and 20%, are failing, right? Then you can criticize those 20% of students. But if you have a teacher and 80% of the students are failing and only 20% are passing, you have to evaluate the teacher. You see, because there's something wrong if only the exceptional ones, are able to be successful. This is the whole thing with the Oracle and the Matrix. The whole reason the Oracle was there was so that the system or the Matrix was realistic and flawed enough, so that people would accept the system, because the first Matrix was a paradise and people couldn't accept that. Imagine you're in, and this is why I always laugh when people talk about they want to go to heaven where it'll be bliss and everything. It's like, doesn't make any sense. You imagine how nuts you would be if you saw glass on the edge of a table and you were like, I want to break that shit, and you knocked it off the table and it smashed on the ground, and you turned around, and then when you turned back, it was back up on the table and it was, perfect again. Right? Like everything you did, like that would irritate you. You'd be like, I want it to be broken and I want it to stay broken, motherfucker. Right? But you can't do that because it's heaven and everything is supposed to be perfect. Right? And that was the whole thing with the Oracle in the Matrix, and why the Oracle was there, because the Oracle had to give essentially the illusion of choice. If you want to go down this path, you can go down this path. If you want to go down this path, you can go down that, that path. But the Matrix itself, the architect wanted it to be perfect. And again, the flawed human mind could not accept perfection. You see? So why did I bring that up? There's a reason why I brought that up. You have to have a system where most people can be successful. Otherwise, the myth of the system, and this is where you base all of your ideas and concepts, whether it's Christianity, whether it's patriotism, or what it is to be an American, all of that is based on people living successful lives. If people are not living successful lives, then those your higher calling aspects, they fall to the wayside. They going back to what Amos Wilson said. If you train young men into, leadership programs or manhood programs, and you leave them there and they're still unemployed and underemployed, eventually they will reject your teachings. They will reject your value systems. And then not only that, you can only go so many times when it comes to screwing people over before people recognize that. I say the same thing, to, black women when it comes to like men, or even not even just black women. I'd say all Western women. How many times did the women think after the 1970s that men were going to watch all like successful guys get absolutely wrecked and destroyed in court, and then that the marriage would be upheld by men in society in future generations? The amount of older men that have said to me, don't get married, is insane. And these are all men divorced, got wrecked in court, all that shit. And it's like, damn, I didn't know it was like that. Right? But we've seen these men get, she gets the house, the kids, he's over there in a 1-bedroom apartment sleeping on a futon. We've seen scenarios like that. Right? So as a result, men are like, hey, I ain't fucking with that. You don't need to tell me you don't need to tell me the stove is hot. I can see it's hot. I'm good. That's all right. I'm fine over here. And the same thing applies to society. How many times are men going to see How many times are you not only A, actively going to shit on men, then B, the men that come before, the current generation of men, the young men watch them get shit on as they're growing up into adulthood, and they're like, man, fuck that shit, right? And then you have, and I think I mentioned this, just men being attacked in general. How many times are men going to sit there and see that the active promotion? I mean, I knew this was going to happen. This goes back to Captain Solo's, I hope you don't need any bridges being built. You want to undermine all your boys and all your men because of whatever, LGBT Rainbow Coalition agenda that's going on in the background. I hope you don't need any bridges being built. I hope you don't need any infrastructure to be maintained. And I damn sure hope you don't need to go to war. To sit there and listen to white guys, right? Look at all the white nationalists. They're running around, right? It's America's ours. We didn't. What did they say? America wasn't stolen, it was conquered, right? They come out, they talk all this shit, right? It's theirs. They have all this, claiming all this strong sense of ownership, right? But yet you got other white men out here that, they're like, nah, I ain't fighting for this bitch. Oh, hell no, I ain't fighting for this. The normies. The normies are looking at the shit and they're like, nah, ain't nothing to fight for. What is there to fight for? I said that. You take away, family. You take away, children, right? You take away, a man's sense of, purpose, legacy, right? And you replace it with, I don't even fucking know, women multitasking and women and the way that they work together and shit. Like, you do all that. You remove all the things that men, the competitive nature of men, all the things that you would typically see in a male space. You say that there's something wrong with it, and then you eliminate it, and slowly but surely you will not find men in that space. This is a large part why a lot of these men have retreated to the realm of online gaming, and they only made that shit gay as fuck. Like, all you got to do is look at when Battlefield 2042 was released and how cringy that shit was. It's like, this is not my Battlefield. What is this shit? Hell, even Battlefield 5, when they dropped that trailer and they had the woman in it with the bionic arm, she had the prosthetic arm on. And it's like, what the hell is this? In World War II, she's on the front line and you got a soldier with a katana and he barrel rolls out the window. What is this? This is not, I want to see damn swastikas in the damn video. What is this Iron Cross bullshit? You know what I mean? It was World War II. We know what they did. You know what I mean? I want to see German soldiers, cursing at me and right? That's what I want to see in the game. You know what I mean? And they go and they fuck it up because, oh no, we're super woke. We can't have, Nazis in the game. We don't want no, because, we're so woke that we want to forget all about, that even happened. And so just enjoy this game, which mimics World War II, but isn't actually World War II. That's not what I'm paying for, bitch. Fuck it. I'll go play some other game. I want to see SWAT. I want to see the horrors of war as I'm playing this damn video game, right? But nah, you remove all that. You want to, sissify everything. And then what's so funny is, check this out. So, as a man, you want to play the game, right? You want to play the game and experience, war, playing the game. But they're like, no, that's too, we have to cater to everybody's feelings and we don't want to, promote that or show that in the game. And I'm like, but then in reality, the same men that were trying to play games that were historically accurate, now it's like, yeah, but we're gonna send you off to Ukraine where you'll engage and see real violence. Like in other words, like you can't see it in a simulation, but we have no problem sending you off to you for you to experience it in real life. Like something doesn't line up there. It just doesn't line up there. And listening to Thinking Ape and him talk to his audience, like I said, everything that black men say always gets dismissed. It's always, some racial bullshit is said or whatever. Black men know. Black men know. Right? Like black men, we're an inconvenient population. This nation was not set up for us. We recognize that. We're mistreated and it's been that way. So we know what fucking time it is. And I'm saying when we speak, everybody should listen, but a lot of people don't listen. They're like, shut up, nigga, right? That's their stance. But everything that black men say, everything that black men point out, it comes to fruition. It becomes true. It becomes reality. And then the white guys are sitting there, it's just hilarious watching them walk through it and they're like discovering this shit. It's like, motherfucker, been on that shit. It's been that time. What are you talking about? I mean, it goes back to, Dave Chappelle's joke when he did stand up on Saturday Night Live and he was making fun of white guys talking about, I can't feed my family. He's like, black men been on that shit. We've been dealt with that. We've been dealt with double-digit unemployment. We've been dealt with that. Right? We've been dealt with the epidemic of, crack cocaine in our community. We've been dealt with that. Heroin, been dealt with that. And white men come late to the party. Oh my God, it's the opioid, it's an epidemic. Oh, there's so much crystal methamphetamine in my town. Late to the party, late as fuck. And crying and can't handle it. It's like, we've been said this. But before, white men, you ladies and black people, breathing up all the white man's air. That's why you're not successful. Right? That's what they were saying, right? And now, look at them. All fucked up, crying, whining, fussing. I'm not going to war. I don't know what this country thinks it is. I'm not going to war. They're not going to send me to war. Why don't you go send that fat black woman with purple hair in the wheelchair with one leg that's blind and mute? Why don't you go send her? Send her to war, right? Like that's how they feel now. I'm like, yeah, but see, when black men, when we getting hit over the head with all this bullshit, they mock us. They think it's funny. Hee hee ha ha. Oh, you black guys. Oh, you just can't do. Your community's fucked up. Your family's broken. Oh, it's all you. That talk all that shit. And now it's happening to the white guys. And the white guys are struggling to find a sense of purpose, a sense of identity, because, it's like everybody wants, and I've said this before, it's like this society, feminism, the freaking society itself are trying to extract maximum amount of productivity from men, namely white men, right? And provide nothing in return. They've removed all the fixings, all of the benefits, all of the perks, all of the things that would make a man feel like he needs to protect the system, right? That provides him the ability to be, the man that he wants to be. But what happens when you remove that? What, you think you're going to get warriors out of that shit? You think you're going to get warriors? No, you're going to get a bunch of disgruntled, pissed the fuck off, equally as pissed off as African Americans have been pissed off. That's what you're going to get. You know what I mean? You're going to get like when you see black men in the 60s, it's so funny. Like anytime I see black men in the 60s and they get on the mic, it's like in Forrest Gump when the guy got on the mic and black men are just known for using profanity. Yeah, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about your decorum and your, ideas of what it means to be well-mannered and respectful. They don't give a fuck about that shit because at the end of the day, they know that you don't give a fuck about them. And how many years have I been warning about this shit? How many fucking years have I been saying this shit and warning about it? And everybody, I swear, they swear up and down, oh, well, what can really happen? Oh, what's going to happen? I'm like, didn't you have somebody just try to blow Donald Trump's head off? The fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like they really think that motherfuckers are not going to crash out. White boys are the most crashing it out motherfuckers that there are. They crash out more than black men do. So I'm like, I don't know what y'all are thinking. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know what it is. Hubris, like what is it? Like just this ridiculous arrogance that they just think like it's like the leaders in this country, whoever is driving the ship, they seem to be like these, let them eat cake type of people. They have no sense of what's going on the ground. They don't peek their heads into the echo chambers, right? They don't even go in there and look. They don't really, like, what are they talking about in here? Nobody's reporting back. They probably do have people who are paying attention, but they're not the people making the decisions. So people are being monitored and listened to, but like the people that are making the decisions, are not connected to the people that are doing the monitoring. You know what I mean? Like they're like, what I feel like is people are just like the government's monitoring to look for imminent attacks and shit like that, but they're not listening to like what is actually being said, what is fueling the anger, right? What is fueling the not signing up for military and not being patriotic. I mean, it's hilarious to say as much as, Colin Kaepernick needs to stay under, right? All that shit, they were going in on Colin Kaepernick. Boo, boo, the national anthem is playing. How dare you not stand? Boo, boo. Right now, they talking about 18 to 26-year-old, you better get ready to get your ass shipped off to Ukraine. And now all of a sudden you see all these young white men, I'm not going, fuck that shit. Right? They're going crazy. I'm like, oh, where's all the booing now? Where's all the, you need to fight for your country, right? Where's all that? Even the dads of these young men, where's that at? Because a lot of them were the same ones that were talking about Colin Kaepernick needs to stand. Now that their son has to go off and possibly, get drafted and go to the war and everything. Now, not my son. Yeah, it's always, I don't give a fuck what's happening to somebody else until the shit lands on my doorstep. Then that's the only time that I'm like, well, yeah, that's not supposed to happen to me. It's the most retarded shit in the world. But this is the country, that we live in. But I mean, using Pat Tillman and, the sacrifice that he made. And I mean, it's not even like he like dove on a grenade and the grenade blew up. And then, he saved 5 of his fellow soldiers. Like, no, he got killed by somebody who wasn't paying enough attention at basic training, and fucked up in Afghanistan. Like, it's like, God damn, you got killed. Friendly fire. That's fucked up. You know what I mean? And you didn't have to go. You could have just played in the NFL for another, 10 years, made your money, you know what I mean? Raised your kids, see your kids grow up, walk your daughter, or I don't even know if he has a daughter, but walk your daughter down the aisle. You could have done all that. But no. You go off to go fight for in Afghanistan, get killed by friendly fire, and then to add insult to injury, Joe Biden just leaves MRAPs and a whole bunch of other equipment there and packs up his bags and goes home. You know what I mean? I remember I was watching a video of it was like something about Vietnam and war baby and everything. There was a guy, because a lot of those Vietnam soldiers, they were fucking around with prostitutes and, some of the local girls they fell in love with, and those girls ended up getting pregnant. And so Vietnam, and I'll say that the U.S. military or the U.S. government did repatriate a lot of the children. So a lot of the men, they went over there, found their kids, and then their kids were able to come to the United States because technically speaking, they were U.S. citizens. But I was watching this video, this white guy, he was over there, and he was in Saigon, and I think Saigon is now what, Ho Chi Minh City, if I'm correct or not. Anyway, so he was there and he was looking around, and it was like there was a McDonald's and there was like a KFC or something. Like, he's on this bus and he's looking around and he's like, it's crazy. Like, we came here to contain communism because we wanted, there to be capitalism, and communism won and communism took over. And, he's looking around at Vietnam and all the stores and shops. He's like, and capitalism is here. Like, it's literally here. So he's like, why the hell did we even go here? Why did we even come here? And people talk about, freaking, wars are just, old men talk and young men die, and young men go off and fight all the wars, for old men making decisions, and they're never going to touch their foot on the ground. And then make it even worse, all the exemptions, right? I mean, this goes into that. What was that song from the 1970s talking about, I ain't no senator's son, because those people didn't have to go, right? Those people didn't have to go and fight and whatnot. I think they had other exemptions, people, only children, stuff like that. But it's just, it's, I'm like, I don't know, as African American, I got mixed feelings on this shit, right? Because I recognize I'm on the same boat, but at the same time, I do want the system of white supremacy to topple, and like somebody said, it's not going to go out with a bang, it's going to go out with a whimper. But there's I think, if America got past all its racial bullshit, and America, like there was actually a system in place that people could, trust and depend on, oh man, America could be like majorly kick ass, in terms of productivity, innovation. Like, we should be living in the future on some Jetsons shit. But you got this unchecked capitalism where you got billionaires that, just get richer and richer and richer. And then your average citizen, has to pay, fucking almost $20 for a McDonald's meal. I'm like, what are y'all doing? What are you all doing? I'm talking to the elite white men that are the ones that pull the levers and shit. What the fuck are y'all doing? And they probably got some master plan, right? Yes, we're going to crash it all, and then we're going to buy it up because we're the only ones with money to buy everything up. And then it's going to look like the Tyrell or Whalen Yutani Corporation and Aliens and freaking Blade Runner, and we're going to have PMCs, and we're going to control everything, and it's going to be this dystopian future where in order to move from one part of the city to the next, you got to go through these checkpoints and shit like that. And there's going to be motherfuckers standing there with masks on looking like the goddamn Hellgast from Killzone. Like, it's like, oh my God. Like, really? Really? All because, absolute power corrupts. Like, it's fucking retarded. It doesn't have to be this way. And I think most people recognize it doesn't have to be this way. It's like there's enough room. There's enough fucking space. I mean, world governments should be working together to get off of planet Earth and send a freaking something, to come up with. Got to get the fusion reactors going, right? Then you got to get the FTL travel and the warp bubbles and all, get that straightened out, right? So that humanity can extend out into the motherfucking stars. But no. Got to be fucked up capitalism, ups and downs, bear market, bull market, all this bullshit. It's bullshit. Bunch of fake ass money manipulation, bullshit, right? Fighting over resources, finite resources on a finite planet, right? Just no thinking into the fucking future. I was thinking about that shit. I was watching some video the other day about aliens and everything. You think if there are aliens, do you think that they actually got, like, they can travel across the galaxy and all this other shit, or between solar systems? Do you think, like, that they didn't, like, figure some shit, like, in order to become a global civilization, like, you gotta get over all your bullshit ass differences, right? There's no way to get to that level, that tier of civilization, if you can't get over, your differences and shit. And it just to me, it just seems like all of it is just a waste of human capital. This is just my opinion, but it's just a waste of human capital. Just because, in order to have this, first world American lifestyle, I got to dim somebody else's light in order to make that happen. Because we can't internally make it happen, ourselves as America. I gotta make sure that this guy over there, he can't, make his money or sell whatever he's got going on. I got to hold him back so that I can get another, 50 years, you know what I'm saying, of time. Like, it reminds me of that movie with who's fucking Justin Timberlake, the one where like there's like everybody lives forever and then they got like these watches and they literally have to buy each other's time, right? They go to work to get more time to live. Like it's like that, But what was I about to say? I think that's it. It's just I don't know. It's like we got idiots, selfish people, evil people that are in the driver's seat right now. And then you got people that put things in like I said, I don't agree with feminism. I know that there's some women, they want to be, they want their name on the side of the building. They want, to, go off and be, Miss Badass. And, there's plenty of women that want to do that. But there's also women who they want to be moms and they want to be stay. I was watching some video of some, white woman, she in the camera crying, talking about, she wants to, basically curse out the women that fought, fought for equality and fought for women's right to work. Because like she's like, I don't want to go to college and put myself in debt and then work a job that I don't even want. I don't want to do that. I want to be a stay-at-home wife with the fucking kids and shit. I'm like, I already know it. But truth be told, notice how there's more women saying that now because the economy is shit. Oh yeah. See, and this is where men get resentful of women and whatnot, because it's like we try to tell y'all silly bitches shit and y'all don't want to fucking listen to us. And then it's like when shit gets all fucked up and then it's bad, then you want to retreat back to being, a domesticated woman. If the economy was booming, you ain't nobody on my level. I'm out here killing it. I'm a boss, bitch. If the economy was good. You know what I mean? If it felt like the early 2000s, I'm a boss, I'm doing it big, I'm living the Friends life, right? But that since the economy is doing bad, now all of a sudden women are like, I just want to go home and churn butter. You know what I mean? Now they want to find, an Amish village. They want to go out to Lancaster, Pennsylvania and become a Mennonite. They want to go out there and churn butter and marry, Jebediah, and get with him and pop out 5 kids, with him, and sew some clothes or some shit like that. Now they want to do that because, they're tired of, at 5 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a Zoom call. Could everybody be there, in attendance? It's mandatory, and everybody gets there, and the next thing you know, yes. So the corporation has decided that all of you will be terminated exactly tomorrow. So don't show up tomorrow. For those of you who want to get workers, not workers' compensation. What the hell is it called? I can't think of what it's called. Unemployment, you can talk to Susie in HR and, she'll make that happen, blah, blah, blah. Like all that bullshit, and now you got to figure out, how you're going to pay your $2,000 a month rent, right? You got to figure that shit out. You got to look for another job where your resume, falls into the void. Right? Because everything's going through AI and algorithms, and you might as well just use another AI to write your resume and copy the job description and then make up some shit, so everybody's faking it until they make it. Like, it's just nonsense. And then you got the boomers sitting around talking about, again, what you need to do is you need to print out your resume, and then you go to the office with your bow tie, and you shake you find the manager, and you shake his hand, and you look him in the eye and say, "Sir, I do's good work." And this is what they tell you. Nonsense. And it's like, and at this point, like, doesn't it just look like boomer trolling? It just looks like trolling at this point. The gaslighting, the trolling. I'm like, Keep fucking around, and eventually, you're going to see more motherfuckers snapping. You're going to see more motherfuckers snapping. You know what I mean? And maybe they want people to snap. That way they can, yes, finally, we've had enough mass shootings, and then, the elites can get rid of the assault weapons ban, or not the assault, you got to get rid of it, put in place the assault weapons ban or a semi-automatic ban, or get rid of all guns altogether. That way they don't have to worry about there ever being an insurrection or any sort of resistance to, the system. So, the more chaos there is, the more they get to go up there like Senator Palpatine or the man with the funny mustache, gain supreme emergency powers, and then basically sell, right? Right. They created the problem, and then they sell the people the solution. And the people are so fed up with, the decline of society, that they're like, oh, just anything, the Patriot Act and any other, yes, please have surveillance on American citizens. They're just not thinking the shit all the way out. Please take our guns away. That way, that if you ever do anything egregious, we can't even resist you in the slightest. America will just become one big fat police state. And black people on the sidelines talking about, we told you so, we told you so, we told you so. How do we know? Because that's what white supremacy does to us. Anyway, I'm done with this video. That's my video, SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.